Hey there folks, day 76 and we're officially in winter. It's like minus a bazillion Canadian and we're out working on the camper today, getting it ready for camping season. Well, actually it's more like minus 10 Canadian out there, plus wind chill. So that's what we're dealing with. But what I've got done out here today, it's day 76 if I haven't said that already. Armful of stuff here, I'll lay it down. Okay. We're going to be working on the aluminum today. The aluminum part of the ceiling. It's going to be, my wife's coming out to give me a hand with that because it's a two-person job. We actually snuck out here earlier in the week to take some measurements, and a 10-foot piece of aluminum will come to right about right here, from here right down to the corner. So that's how long I'm going to be cutting it. We're going to be using some VHB tape on the ribs here. You may notice got some plastic put over the windows on both sides. That's to keep the heat in, because apparently VHB tape needs I think 20 degrees for it to work the most effectively. It's not 20 degrees, so we're just going to try to make it as warm as possible. And then tonight I'm going to be hanging a moving blanket over this and put the heater in there, and just to keep it all sort of toasty warm. And I've got the aluminum set up there, so I'm just going to give myself a cup of coffee, cut a 10-foot piece, put a 1-inch lip on it for the bottom end of the curve, and see where the day goes. So yeah, let's get building. My cutting surface is shorter than 10 feet up there where the level is. That's the 6-foot mark. So I need to coil this up a little so I can get a good mark on the 10-foot mark up there, so I can cut it. I marked this as the 10-foot mark and confirmed it. So now's the cutting. Should just fit. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to put a 1-inch lip on this. I turn the aluminum back the other way, rolling it in upon itself to take a little bit of the spring out of it, so it will hopefully more easily conform to the curved roof of the camper on the inside. We did a test fit of the aluminum and it went up surprisingly well. Didn't have a camera because we didn't know how it was going to fit, but so be it. And we discovered that we really needed this little piece bent here. This is going to go up in the upper wall in order for it to fit. So I'm bending this here. I just got to clamp down to the plywood using this block of 2x4 just to tap that in there to get a little bit of a bend on it before we put it back up again with hopefully some VHB tape. There we go. That should work. As I hung this sheet, this small moving blanket over the door, and that surprisingly makes it a lot warmer. And gee whiz, I didn't realize how hot it is in here. Let me turn down my light there. But it's at least, 15 degrees in here now. Oh, it's nice and toasty. I like that. So that's what we're probably going to have to do from this point forward to keep some of the heat in here, because it's a big difference in temperature between in here and outside. And the VHB tape does have to be relatively warm. Might have to look for some cold weather VHB tape. Not quite sure, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I got to go back out and work on that piece of aluminum. We have the roof panel test fit. It was up and down a couple of times, but this is probably how it's going to look. So next is to throw on the VHB tape. So you can see why this is a two-person job, trying to get this in place. Next, I'm going to be putting like 4-foot long pieces of string on the 3 wires that are going through this for lights, and just string them down through like now, so that when we get them in place we can just tug the strings and pull the wire out through, because otherwise our arms are not like long enough to reach in over this and thread through the holes that we drilled. You can't see them from, or you might be able to see them somewhere along there. So it fits relatively well. This, we're going to need some corner trim to go up into the corners there, because it doesn't fit like a machine did it. A little bit of a gap, so some sort of maybe caulking or some sort of trim to make that look okay. Then when we get this up, after much, I guess, actually not going to be frustration, it's going to be a fun exercise to get this in place. And then I'm going to run some wire for a fan, which I forgot to do, so I'll have to pop that in there and over to the panel before we attempt the next piece that will cover over most of the fan hole here. And this is the contraption I have set up for the wires. Got string going down to the holes, so when we're putting this up in place, one of us will grab hold to the string and slowly pull it, so that these wires will hopefully pull out the holes. Fingers crossed. Now to put on the VHB tape. With the strings in place and the VHB tape all done, now's the fun part. To try to get this up and have it stick appropriately to the VHB tape. It looks okay. A couple of imperfections, but we can take care of that. We popped this the cabinet back up in place just to hold the ceiling in, because we didn't put any VHB tape along here, so we just got this just temporarily screwed back up into the studs for now. And my wife's over there in the corner putting on some more VHB tape for the next ceiling piece, which will go right there. And we're planning on running it right back to here as well, and notching out this piece right here, if that makes sense. But you'll see what I'm doing. And this is piece number 2 that we're cutting at 10 feet. And there's the mark right there. The 1-inch lip cut on, bent on the other end to go down on the bed part. Now I'm going to cut out this section here, so it'll wrap around. So actually this section here will go over the hallway and into where the fan is going to be located. So I'll get to cutting. Before we put up the second piece of aluminum on the ceiling, I went and I ran some 12-aught, it's probably a little heavy, wire for the fan, because just up there in the ceiling we have a spot marked out for a fan if we ever need one. So I just ran the wires for the fan, just in case. We don't have it in there now, we don't plan to put it in, but just in case we do, it'll all be wired for a fan. 12-aught, like I said, probably a little bit of overkill, but at least it's there. It's the end of day 76. Pretty long day. We got a lot done. Definitely a two-person job. We've got all the aluminum for the living area done. You know, we had the walls done before, but we got that side up right there and that side up right there, and we wrapped this in this way a little bit. This is the, let's call it the wet room, so this is going to overlap here a little bit. And we also went into the closet a little bit, coming around that corner. Now we're going to have to do some trim work in there as well as over in the other corner, but that was expected. And we're thinking about putting a piece, probably like 1 inch by 1/16 aluminum strip right down the middle, just to hold things in place. But that's going to be for later. So it's all VHB taped up there and a couple of strategically placed screws. As I mentioned, this is up here just to hold this section up. But I'm quite happy with this. It's a little gappy in spots, but like I said, like over right there and a couple of spots over there. But that'll all be covered by trim. Yeah. So that's it for day 74. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.